everyone? This is Sean Butner with Start Your Day with the Coach. Welcome to this morning show where we start your day with motivation so you can go out there and crush it with whatever you're doing. So if you're joining me, say hi below here. That would be awesome so I know where you're from. If you have any questions, post those down there. I'll follow up and answer them. And we'll get into the topic of today and this morning, which is motivation is methodical. So many times we, leave our productivity or the way that we do things either unquestioned or kind of just up to chance. And, as someone that grew up and studied a lot of systems work in school, something that I found, and I think a lot of analytical people tend to use, are set processes, methodologies, habits. These are all words for the same thing, where you're very clear on what you need to do, because when you're clear on what you need to do next, it's very easy to take that step. So it's the athlete that is getting ready for a sprint that's done it 50 bajillion times before, that official scientific term, bajillion, and knows how to, they have the way that they tie their shoelaces every time, how they talk to themselves, how they breathe. And so when they're focused and that gun goes off, they know exactly what they need to do and how to perform at their highest. Or it's, someone in an office that is writing code, say, and you have a way of diagnosing the problem, coming up with a solution, testing it, banging it through edge cases, and then releasing it so that you don't have problems when people who are not technical use it for, things. So, there's these methodologies, project management methodologies, and how you run a large group of tasks to completion. We see this all the time out in the world, and so many times we don't think to apply it to ourselves. So if you're struggling with feeling motivated, part of it could just be you don't have your process figured out yet. And I know sometimes process can be a dirty word, or habits, or methodology, because sometimes people don't really want to feel like they're locked into a certain set of things. And I know I certainly fall into that category a lot. But I've realized that when I have my methodology and when I have the set of steps, that I'm way more productive. You think less about what you need to do, so you get to doing it a lot quicker. And I think a lot of times output is getting the work done and then reflecting on it. So there's this cycle of do a bunch of stuff, see what happened, see how it measured up to the plan, how it measured up to your expectations, how you can tweak it into the future, and then implement, those changes. And I think that process is really fun. So I'm always up for tweaking my morning routines, tweaking how I do my work. I recently, went through a course to, it gave me some marketing processes that was awesome for my, business that I run out of this illustrious office/bedroom. So, it's such an important thing to have these things so you keep motivated, because like I said, if you don't have a process set, you spend a lot of time churning on making decisions, on trying to figure out what you need to do. A lot of times if you feel overwhelmed, that's another indication. So that said, let's get into the methodology that I really loved for improving your habits. So this is kind of like a weird meta thing, but I learned this in studying information flows and systems, systems thinking and all that. So the first thing you need to realize, if it's your health habit, what do you do when you wake up for your morning habit? What do you do when you go work out? What do you do when you're at work and you hit a problem or task? Sometimes those are the same thing. But the first thing to realize is, how is it done now, right? Now, I'm not going to show this on the Instagram feed because it's backwards and it's garbage. So how is it done now? And all that is if you take a look at what people are actually doing, what you are actually doing, how are you, how is that going to measure up? And that's opposed to the second part, which is, how's it supposed to be done? So this is a really good way to see if the process isn't really could use some improvement, like right here. Like, so if I have a morning routine and I know that I wake up, I make coffee, take a shower, I eat breakfast, and then I'm ready for my day. If that's how it's supposed to be done, what I actually do is wake up, drink coffee, and then goof off on the internet for a while, or don't do the stretches I was supposed to do in that list that I made up off the top of my head. Like, if what I'm actually doing is different from what I want to be doing, or what I'm supposed to be doing, or what I had planned, that means that there's a breakdown in the process. Either you need to start doing what you had planned, or the things that you have planned are just not working. You have to shuffle things around. So there's that kind of comparison and that like systems thinking. So what are you doing now? What is the team doing now? What is it supposed to be doing, right? And so you can figure out problems there. When you know how it's, when you have that figured out, then you can start to think, like, how could we change this? What will be done? How can we, in the future, change how things are supposed to be done so that, it flows more efficiently, it flows easier, it brings more joy into your life. Those are the kind of things you want to be thinking of when you're thinking about your habits on how you do, like I said, health, career, how you operate in relationships. Like, when you see someone, are you explosive saying hi, or are you like standoffish? Are you always checking what you're saying so you don't like say something stupid? Whatever that is. But I digress. So, how are things supposed to be done? And then I might have done these out of order. Then there's also, how will it be implemented? Oh yeah. No, this is good. So, so you start with what you're doing. You start thinking about, how the process was supposed to be. You change how the process is supposed to be to maybe fit your better, and to fit your style better, to fit your joy better, whatever. And then you figure out how you turn that into tangible actions, right? So how you're going to do that in the real world. So if you can think about it, it's physical world, in your head, physical world, right? It's another way to kind of explain these four things. Usually it's drawn in a quadrant, and I was not prepared for that. So, any case, maybe I'll do something on the fly. It's done now. Ad lib. So, yeah, essentially how it's backwards now. Done now, supposed to be, will be done, supposed to be done, right? So you have like physical world and in your head, the idea world. So that's super helpful in trying to diagnose how to make incremental improvements in a system, in your habits, in your methodologies. Because again, when you have something that is working for you, it's those little tweaks that build mastery and make it fun. Like, for me at least, it makes it so much more fun when you're tweaking things, you're figuring out how to do it more efficiently. Sometimes taking that step back from how you're actually doing it and being like, how's this supposed to get done? You start to see things that you're like, oh, like, why am I walking around the house 3 times when I could just cut through this room or whatever? It's a terrible example, but any case, guys, that is why I think motivation is methodology, and how important it is to really think critically about the things that you do, the habits that you have, the processes that you follow, and tweak it so that you can keep moving forward. So, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Need more coffee. All right, guys. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll talk to you later.